Hi everyone, this is Deirdre Benjamin, your professor, and I wanted to talk to you about your consumption project. So this is a semester-long project. You'll have a couple parts due throughout the semester, and I don't mean parts like, I mean a proposal, and then I say whether you're on the right track, and then you have the actual artwork draft due, and then you have your final project. So I don't mean that it's more of me to make sure that you're working on your project instead of waiting until the last minute to do it. So if you haven't noticed, there is a consumption project module. And if you haven't read the information about the consumption project, of course, I highly suggest you do that before you start even working on your project. Make sure you read every part of it. Make sure you look at all the links to get an idea of what you would, what are my expectations for the project. Okay? So the idea is to create a digital art piece that represents a significant amount of consumption in the United States. And this artist, Chris Jordan, has done a wonderful job of this. Now, his pictures are way more advanced, and I'm not expecting a super advanced picture. I'm not expecting your picture to zoom in and out. And if you look on his websites, you'll see that happening. If you click on the image, it looks like a larger image. And then when you zoom in, and you click on the image, it actually zooms in to show you what the image is made out of. So I'm not asking you to do that. What the end result will be a 2-page paper written about whatever consumption product you discuss, and then the digital art piece. And when I say digital art piece, you don't need any fancy apps. You can if you want to. There are tons of apps out there. You could just use Word or Publisher to do this. And so I'm going to give you a couple examples, or one example of how to do that. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is look at the links to get an idea of what we're looking for. We're looking for massive consumption. So as kind of some of the seasons end, I think about all the waste. So for example, as Halloween ends, I think about how many costumes probably get thrown in the trash, or I think about how much candy we eat, which would represent obesity in the United States, or, I don't know, how many bottles are thrown away every day, or how many cell phone chargers, or how many K-cup Keurigs are thrown away. The sky is the limit about how much we consume every day that we get thrown away that never breaks down. There was a little while ago, there was an awesome little piece that showed like how long it takes for products to break down. Balloons never break down. Mylar balloons, 0 time, they never break down. So we could come back in 70,000 years back to back to any landfill in the world, and a Mylar balloon will still be there in the same shape that it was. So if you can, don't buy Mylar balloons, because what usually happens, they end up in the ocean, a species eats them, and then they die. So it's really important. Styrofoam cups hardly ever break down. It could take them about 10,000 years to even maybe decompose a little bit. So think about how many Dunkin' Donuts cups are thrown away every day, or how many Starbucks cups are thrown away a day. So think about these things, and then you want to represent that image. So I'm just going to quickly do that. So that would be the first part, would be you would represent a statistic in an art form. The second part would be you would write a paper about that, okay? A 2-page paper. All the specifications about the paper are here. You can see this here. Also, you'll see that down. Now, the proposal was supposed to be due November 1st. I moved that back, okay? So it will no longer be due November 1st. I moved that date back to November 15th. Also, when you're looking up these statistics, you may find a ginormous statistic. So you might find a billion of something. Well, you definitely can't make an art exhibit off of a billion things. So you might need to break that down. So here, I give you an example of that. For example, Chris Jordan's Roundup 2015 piece depicts 213,000 bees, equal to the number of pounds of toxic chemical pesticides applied to plants and soils around the world every 20 minutes. If while researching your topic you become overwhelmed with the statistic, try and downsize the number. So in the example above, you could use the statistic of every minute instead of every 20 minutes by dividing 213,000 by 20. In the end, you would have 10,650 pounds every minute. So you can see how you have to really break it down into a smaller amount. Okay, now remember, you want to think about something that really impacts the environment or a species. I don't want you to do straws. I mean, straws, yeah, it could be an issue, but to be honest with you, in the grand scheme of problems we have, straws are not it, okay? The amount of styrofoam cups are totally it that Dunkin' Donuts sells every day, or plastic bags, or, I mean, the sky is endless on terms of what we consume that we throw away every year. Clothes, shoes, you know, those Old Navy flip-flops people throw away. Think about how many of those. Now, the one issue is trying to find the statistics. So you have to pick something that you think will be a tangible statistic. So sometimes the more creative you want to be, it doesn't work out because maybe the statistic will not be there. Okay, so I want to quickly show you something. So in Publisher, I did this. I found this like image of bottle caps. And so my bottle caps, I'm just going to say, represent how much bottles of beer are sold every second in the United States. Okay. So each picture here might have 100 bottle caps in it. So all I did was found this picture of 100 bottle caps on the internet. I copied it. I pasted it in here. I made it really small. Look, if I make it bigger, I can make it bigger. I made it smaller. See, look, there you go. I made it really small, and then I'm copying and pasting this, and I'm going to make an image out of an image. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to actually make a bottle out of the bottle caps. So I just copy, paste. There we go. There's the other one. And I'm just going to kind of like go get it smaller and smaller as I go up. And then at the top, I'm going to write my statistic. Now, you know, for me, I'm a little bit crazy and I'd be like, that doesn't look perfect. So I'm going to kind of edit it a little bit. And you could do this in Paint. You could do it in a lot of different ways. I could edit it and maybe I could fade the edges of it and make it look a little prettier. So there's tons of ways you can do this. And look, I could just copy and paste. And then I'm going to put this here. Okay, so I'm starting to try and make a bottle form out of it. So that's really what Chris Jordan was doing. He was making an image out of an image. So my image is going to be a bottle, but my image is made out of bottle caps to represent how many bottles are thrown away every day in the United States. And this is a big consumption issue. So, you know, granted, beer bottles can be recycled, but what if I did that with plastic bottle caps or whatever? So you're going to figure out what you want to do. This is kind of what the art piece will look like. You can pick anything. So I want to show you though. So here is the description. Make sure you read it. But if you look up here, I ask you for a project proposal on November 15th. Your project proposal, let me just do, here we go. Your project proposal is down here. So after there, here you go. Here's your project proposal. If you open your project proposal, you'll see a Word document here. You're going to open your Word document, and in your Word document, you're going to fill in this information. So what is the topic? It could be plastic bags in the world. And then what is the statistic you're going to use? So you need to tell me the statistic. So is that 700,000 plastic bags are thrown away every half a second in the United States? I don't know, whatever statistic you want to choose. Then the sources. So your source, of course, one of your sources, and it should be in MLA formatting. One of the sources would be, of course, where you got your statistic from. You probably want another source to back up where you did get your statistic from. And then a couple other sources because you're going to need some more information in order to write your paper. Okay? So that'll be there. And then a brief description because I want you to think about think out the process. So what am I going to do with this image? Am I going to make a rubber duck out of plastic bags, or am I going to make a big coffee cup out of Keurig K-cups? What am I going to do? Okay? And so here you would kind of flesh out your thoughts on top of what you will be doing. Okay? So you want to make sure you'll fill this out and then you'll submit it by the November 15th deadline. Okay, and then I will comment on it. So I'll say, good idea, go with it, or you're struggling with the topic a little bit. So I've had students say, oh, how about I do Tootsie Roll wrappers? And I say, no. I mean, in the grand scheme of life, Tootsie Roll wrappers aren't a big deal. Plus, they're made out of paper with a wax coating, and they can break down over time. Okay, so you want to pick something that really is going to make an impact in the world. You know, of course, electronics are a big thing. Textbooks. I mean, there's so many ideas. Pesticide use. I mean, there's thousands of topics you probably could do in terms of this. You know, who knows, maybe you could do clothes and they represent, I don't know, you could do a dress and it could represent, you know, how many sweatshops there are in the world or something. So, you know, this dress represents, you know, and then in there you could have, I don't know, an image of a person or something in a sweatshop, and you could copy and paste thousands of those pictures together and say, this, you know, this picture is of a dress, but if you look closer, it actually represents all of the people who are in sweatshops throughout the world or something. Okay, so this is kind of what I want you to do for this project. The sky is the limit. You can get overwhelmed by it, but don't, because it's not the point. The point of this project is you want to make a really cool art piece that you can show people that says, hey, look at this consumption thing, and you want to make it a wower, like, wow, I didn't know we used that much of that. Okay, so that's the whole objective of the consumption project. Now, you'll have that due, and then if you look here, now remember, it was supposed to be due earlier in the semester, but I gave you a little bit extra time to do it. But if you look down here, so you have your proposal due, there's your midterm here, and then you have your proposal due, okay? And then you have your artwork draft. So here's your artwork draft, and that's due by the following week. So you don't have much time in between, but I want you to really start working on that draft. So probably as you're working on your proposal, you might want to start working on an artwork draft. I don't give you much time because then the end of the semester. So here's the final paper and here's your final artwork. So your paper is right here and it has all the specifications under the paper about what it's about. Here you go, the statistical number. It tells you exactly how many points I'm giving you for each thing. And, you know, it must be at least 2 pages. This does not include the reference page, single space, use at least 3 sources. So 2-page paper, and you write a paper about your thing, and you want to answer these questions, okay, in there to describe all those sorts of things. So, you know, I kind of give you exactly how I want you to write the paper, etc. So that'll actually be due December 6th. And then you have your final exam, which will be due after that. So I want this done before the final exam so you can spend time on the final exam. So if you look down here, you'll see there, then your final exam's not due till the 15th of December. So you have some time in there, and I think I give you off a week in there a little bit here. So December 6th, your renewable quiz is due, and then you don't have your final exam until the 15th. So I give you a full week in there to just study for your final exam. Okay, so although I front-loaded you, I really wanted you to work hard in the beginning, and now we've hit a plateau, and now we'll kind of trickle down to the end. All right, so if you have any questions about the project, please, of course, email me. I'll be more than happy to help you. Make sure you shoot me an email. Hey, what do you think of this idea? Or hey, what do you think of that idea? Okay, so I hope this helped explain a little bit more further about what I would like to see in your consumption project.